Hi guys, Luke here from Luke Tech Reviews, and today I'll be taking a look at the modern leather case from Nomad. Thank you for Nomad for sending this across for me to review. I'll be having a run around the case to see what it looks like and how it's held up over the last 7 days, and I'll also be comparing it to the official Apple leather case which I've been using on my iPhone 14 Pro Max for the past 8 months. Let's jump in and have a look. Okay, so I thought we could start by having a quick run around the box. So just on the front it shows you a picture of the case you've got inside. So for me, I've got the brown modern leather case for my iPhone 14 Pro Max. So just turning the box around, there's just a few details here on what to expect from the case. It's a full grain sustainability sourced leather. There's an air bump for 10-foot drop protection, which is pretty cool, and it's MagSafe and wireless charging compatible. Nomad have been proudly carbon neutral since 2020. Okay, so as I said in the intro, I have been using the case for roughly around 7 days now. So if there's any scratching and stuff on it, that'll be why. But I wanted to give you a proper review rather than just unboxing the case today. So now that's out of the way, let's just do a run around the case and see how the buttons are and how the case looks overall. So let's start on the back because we're already there. So you see we've got a nice brown leather material here. Very soft and smooth. Feels really premium. Camera bump is black, so you can see that's a different colour to the case, so you've got a bit of contrast, and then the sides, the top and the back are also black and they aren't made of leather. Before I pop the phone in, let's just take a look at the inside. So you can see we've got like a suede material just here, nice and soft, and that will keep your phone from scratching on the inside. You then have your Nomad logo just here, and as you can see we've got a MagSafe ring just here. Okay, so let's now pop the phone in and take a look. So first thought, feel nice and premium in the hand, and as far as the colour goes with the space black variant on my phone, I think it looks really nice. As I said, I've been using the case for a few days, so I can tell you about some of the scuffs and marks I've got on it over the last week. So you can see there's a few natural marks just here where I've been lying it on the table or pulling it in and out of my pocket. Probably the biggest one there is a dent you can see. Obviously with the case being brown, I think they're a bit more visible than on the black leather cases. But for those of you who do use leather cases, you do know they do get scratched easier than other cases. But these aren't anything to worry about. They're just natural marks which tend to come and go over time and change with the case patinaing over time. Okay, so let's take a look at the camera module and see how protected we are. So just holding it up, you can see we've got a nice bump raised all the way around, so you've got good protection if you do drop your phone. So moving on to the sides, you can see we've got a soft material here which is actually not leather, unlike the back of the phone. So it looks like a silicone material. I would prefer it to be leather all the way around, like on my Apple leather case, but we'll get to that case in a minute. Looking at the buttons, they are made from metal and you've got easy access to the mute switch, so no problems there. Nice touch with the metal buttons, helps give it the premium feel. Moving to the top, that's just smooth all the way across and the leather ends just there. You've got a bit of a two-tone finish going on from the side and the back. Moving around to the power button, this seems to be a plastic button, but it is textured, as you can hear. So at least you can feel where the button is straight away and you've got no problems clicking it in and out. It's not the most tactile button with it being plastic. I would have preferred it to have been metal, and it still doesn't beat the buttons on the Apple leather case for me. So just 2 bits of feedback straight away. Leather all the way around I think personally would look more premium, and then metal buttons all the way around would just offer a bit more of a user-friendly experience. So now we've had a look around the Nomad case, let's just bring in the Apple leather case and see how these two compared, because these are two of the most premium offerings for your iPhone 14 Pro Max. I've been using the iPhone 14 Pro Max leather case for about 8 months now. Let's put these head to head. So we'll start with the back. So as far as feel in the hand, they're not too dissimilar, but they do feel quite different. So because I've been using the Apple leather case for about 8 months, it's obviously had more time to set in and patina, and it's become a lot more grippy. So as you can see on the sides, there is patina going all the way around the edge. So it's had time to set in and it has actually become a very, very grippy phone case, which is awesome. The Nomad is still very smooth because I've only used it for the past week. But as I said earlier, because the Apple leather case is black, it does show less marks even though I've used it for longer. And the fact that I've only used the Nomad case for 7 days and it has quite a substantial amount of nail marks and blemishes on, maybe does raise a bit of a concern, and it might show me that the Apple leather case may be a bit more durable for the actual leather part. Now obviously with the side being silicone, the sides, the top and the bottom of the Nomad case I'd imagine will hold up better overall. but as far as the leather part goes, I think that's probably more durable on the Apple leather case. Looking at the camera modules on both cases, Nomad's is made out of like a silicone rubber material, and Apple's is made of plastic. So they're two different build choices. Don't think there's one better than the other. If I had to choose one, I prefer the look of the Apple leather one, but as you can see, I do have a dent out of the Apple leather one there, and I think the silicone rubber type material will probably hold up better over time. Okay, so let's move around to the sides of the phone and check out those buttons. So what you will notice is the buttons are both metal. Apple's are sticking out a bit more and they are a lot clickier from personal experience than the Nomad ones, which can feel a little bit mushier. They are metal, but they don't seem to carry the same sort of premium feel. Looking at the mute switches, you can see there's actually a much larger cutout on the Nomad case. So I'll give a point to Nomad for having a bit of an easier access to the mute switch on this occasion. The materials used, as I said, there's a rubbery silicone material on the outside of the Nomad case. But for me, Apple win this one because they go leather all the way around the case. So on the sides, bottom and top, are leather. And the only bit that isn't are the buttons, which are metal, and the camera module, which is plastic. Moving around to the bottom. So as you can see, I think Nomad are going to offer a lot more protection when it comes to dropping your phone. The case is actually raised higher around the ports, speakers and buttons. So I think it will offer a bit more protection. And as Nomad say on the packaging, you do have drop protection, which is cool. And you can tell when looking at it that it's obviously a lot more recessed. One thing to note is I personally prefer the Apple leather case on the bottom. So even though it's thinner and the protection isn't as good, Nomad's material here is quite hard, and when it's resting on your finger here and you're browsing, it can be a bit sore on your small finger. So I rest my phone, I don't know if you guys do, on the small finger when I'm browsing or typing, and the plasticky rubber material here can dig in a bit around the ports and it's quite uncomfortable. So over periods of time I do notice that this case is a lot more uncomfortable. Okay, so there's another point to take into consideration, which is price. Before I go ahead and cover that, jump down in the comment section and let me know, out of all the things I've listed so far, which one would you choose and why? Okay, so let's take a look at the prices. So the Nomad case will set you back around $50 or £53 in the UK, and the Apple leather case will set you back $53 and £59 in the UK. So there's obviously a small difference there, but something to consider when purchasing. But I've used the Nomad modern leather case for 7 days and this one Apple leather case for 8 months, and I'm now ready to give my verdict. So my favourite case, and the reason why it's my favourite case, and you probably guessed already, is the Apple leather case. But let me explain. The Nomad case is fantastic. It does feel really premium. The leather material is nice. You've got great drop protection and it's really well built, and it's a snug fit to the phone, which is great. But the reason I'm going to go with the Apple leather case is a couple of them, and the first one is it has leather all the way around, so there's no silicone or rubber used, which is much more nicer on the hand and it's much more comfortable when using it over long periods of time. And the second one will be those buttons. So the buttons on the Apple leather case are metal both sides, and they're just so clicking. To this day they remain my favourite buttons on any case. But today's review is about the Nomad leather case, but I thought it was important to pitch it up against the Apple leather case, as I think it will be its closest competition. But for me, this case is fantastic, and again I want to say a big thank you to Nomad for sending this across. And let me know your guys' thoughts of the case down in the comments, and while you're there, if you'd like to, hit subscribe. That way you'll see my upcoming review for my 8th month follow-up of the Apple leather case. But for now, I'm Luke from Luke Tech Reviews. See you next time.